On a remote outcrop of rock, the Flannan Isles Lighthouse stood guard, a sentinel of stone against the vast North Atlantic. Its beam was a promise of safety to sailors. But in December 1900, that promise failed. The light went out. Inside the tower, a strange and silent scene was set. Food was on the table, a meal uneaten. A chair was overturned as if someone had left in a great hurry. Yet the main door was locked from the inside. This suggested peace, not panic, a quiet, orderly abandonment. This is the first paradox of Flannan Isle: the quiet room, the waiting meal, the locked door. Outside the lighthouse, the sea was calm. Passing ships noted no unusual weather. The sky was clear. The waves were gentle. Yet a logbook inside told a very different story. A scrawled entry spoke of a terrible storm. This is the second paradox: a storm in a diary, the real world untouched. When the relief vessel, the Hesperus, arrived, its crew found the island eerily silent. The landing stage was empty. The provisions box was untouched. The crew sounded their horn. They fired a flare. No one came. Joseph Moore was the first to go ashore. He felt a deep sense of dread. He climbed the steep path to the lighthouse, calling into the wind. The compound gate was closed. The main tower door was shut. It was locked from the inside. Inside, things were peculiar. The clocks had all stopped. In the kitchen, a meal sat on the table. A pot of meat and potatoes lay cold. One chair was knocked over. The beds were neatly made. Everything looked tidy, in its proper place. The men's foul weather gear was missing. 2 sets of oilskins and boots were gone. To understand what might have happened, we must understand the men. Thomas Marshall was a seasoned keeper. James Ducat had a family. He was known for his steady nature. Donald MacArthur was a strong, often short-tempered man. He was an occasional keeper, filling in for another who was ill. They were not strangers to this life. They knew the isolation. They understood the power of the sea. They had spent long periods together in the close confines of the lighthouse. Their lives depended on their ability to work as a team. They were professionals. The sea around the Flannan Isles is a powerful force. It is a place of deep water and strong currents. Even on a calm day, the ocean's swell can be deceptive. Rogue waves, far larger than the surrounding seas, are a known, if rare, phenomenon. These waves can rise up from a calm ocean without warning. They can strike with incredible force, sweeping everything from the rocks. The keepers would have known this danger. They would have been taught to respect the sea's unpredictable nature. The most widely accepted theory is that of a tragic accident at sea. The story goes like this. On the afternoon of December 15th, the storm described in the log had passed. The sea was calming down. 2 of the men, Marshall, Ducat, they may have gone to check on the crane or secure a supply box that had been damaged. The evidence of the missing oilskins supports the idea that 2 men went outside. They were likely inspecting the aftermath of the rough weather they had experienced. While they were working, a large, unexpected wave surged up from the ocean. It was a rogue wave, a wall of water that can appear even in relatively calm seas. This wave crashed over the landing stage. It swept both Marshall and Ducat into the churning Atlantic. Back at the lighthouse, MacArthur would have seen this happen. He would have seen his companions swept away. In a moment of sheer panic and desperation, he ran from the lighthouse to help. He did not stop to grab his coat. His only thought was to save his friends. This theory explains many of the facts. It explains why 2 sets of oilskins were gone and 1 was left behind. Another set of theories moves away from natural causes. It looks instead at the human heart. One possibility is foul play. Perhaps an argument broke out between the 3 men. The isolation of lighthouse life can put immense strain on relationships. MacArthur was known to be a fighter. Did a disagreement escalate into violence? One man could have killed the other 2, then, in his despair, thrown himself into the sea. This would explain why all 3 vanished. It would be a workplace dispute with the most tragic of endings. But this theory does not fit the evidence well. The kitchen was tidy, apart from the overturned chair. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood was found, no weapons were present. It seems unlikely that a violent, fatal fight could occur without leaving more of a mess. Also, if one man had murdered his colleagues, why would he then take his own life? It is possible, but it requires imagining a very specific sequence of events for which we have no proof. The state of the lighthouse points away from violence and towards something else. When we place all the theories side by side, we must be guided by the facts. The wilder stories of sea serpents, alien abduction, ghosts can be set aside. They are born from a lack of answers, not from evidence. The theories of foul play, kidnapping, clash with the physical state of the lighthouse. The locked door, the tidy rooms, argue against other people or a violent struggle. We are left with two reasonable paths, an accident or a shared psychological event. The accident theory involves a rogue wave and remains the most popular official explanation. It accounts for the missing oilskins, the overturned chair, and the disappearance of all three men, its weakness, little island damage, and why experienced men were caught off guard. Yet the sea is unpredictable. In the end, we are left with a choice between probabilities. No single theory perfectly fits every piece of the puzzle. The story of the Flannan Isles is like a photograph missing its central subject. We can see the background clearly, we can see the edges of the frame, but the main event is gone, and we are left to guess what it was. For over a century, people have been guessing. The story has become a legend, a modern myth about the sea and the strange fates that can befall those who live by it. The most likely answer is probably the least dramatic one. It is a story of nature's indifference, a story of a freak wave, a rescue attempt that went wrong. It combines the known dangers of the sea with the evidence found at the scene. It requires the fewest leaps of imagination. The ocean keeps its secrets.